How you doing, partner?
Good.
So yields continue to move lower. Looks like the S&Ps are coming off a little bit, and yeah, the euro just keeps knocking at the door of 34. Doesn't look like it wants to come out of here.
Yeah, it's similar story to yesterday where we peak above 134 but no follow through. I still like selling it against the 134, 35, 45 area. You've got a trend line that comes in around 134.65. So I think you can sell rallies and it maybe put a stop above 134.80, something like that. I think you'd be okay.
Okay, so not expecting much follow through. Maybe they just try and pick off these stops over 334.30 or so.
Exactly.
Okay, got you. So yen coming off pretty good. So finally, maybe the yen's going to try and catch up with what the treasuries are doing. Any view there?
It seems as though the market is starting to sense that the BOJ is going to buckle and that they will add more stimulus later this year. There was a Bloomberg article overnight saying that the BOJ is going to downgrade their GDP forecast to bring them more in line with the markets, which had a significantly lower number. So they're looking for growth of only about less than 0.5% this year, and then they also have the prospect of another sales tax hike next year. So I think they may want to give the economy a boost, get some momentum going into next year so it can absorb the additional tax hike.
What?
Right. This is what we've seen in the past, is that these as Japan tries to pull out of this fiscal tornado that it's in, where constant fiscal stimulus that has really wrecked the finances of the country. Just as the economy gets going, they tend to raise taxes, which tends to derail the recovery. So they get into this kind of nasty cycle, and it's very difficult for the economy to catch fire.
Okay, what are the highlights we should be looking forward to next week? Anything big?
Next week, you've got a lot of central bank, the minutes of the central bank meetings. So you've got the MPC minutes from the UK will probably be the most closely watched. Everyone will be looking to see if there were any dissenting votes this time around. The assumption being that if you start to get some hawkish dissents, that that will start to anticipate rate hikes. After the inflation report this week, that was quite dovish. It's all the banks are kind of pushing back their forecast for the first hike into the first quarter of next year. A couple of them were in kind of November, December timeframe. Almost everyone has pushed everything back into 2015. So odds are we don't see a dissent this time around. Maybe one. If that's the case, it probably isn't going to change the calculus very much. The market is looking for a later first hike than it was, a month or so ago. As we talked about yesterday, Carney has been flipping around like a flounder on the deck in terms of his view of what's happening in monetary policy in the near term. We get Fed minutes on Wednesday as well. I guess we'll be looking for hawkish commentary in there, but I think you'll be hard pressed to find too much. You also have the Jackson Hole Symposium.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Next week, so you get all the central bankers all in one place for a couple of days. So that's usually good for some headlines.
Yeah, real good. I've seen turning points at Jackson Hole.
QE was announced at Jackson Hole, or was unveiled as a potential tool. This time around, the focus of the meeting is on labor markets. So I don't know that they're going to come out. It's hard to see them coming up with any new programs to specifically attack labor. I mean, that's just not there in their remit. I don't know. Other than monetary policy, I'm not sure what they can do on the labor front. So I think it's going to be more academic in nature. For instance, this year they've not invited the Wall Street economists, which are typically out there. It's sort of a convention for the Fed watcher industry, but this year they kind of disinvited that group. It's very academic in nature. So whether or not it sounds like it's going to be a more a more low key conference than we've had in the past. So I'm not expecting too much out of Jackson Hole, but we'll see. They'll all be in one place. You never know. Draghi may he'll make a speech. He may use that as a platform. Especially if he feels he didn't get the proper message across in the press conference this time around, he may use the Jackson Hole speech to kind of amplify things, because they tend to be high profile speeches. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye out for that.
Thanks for making LAR great, Jamie. Every day that you're with us, have a great
Dan.
weekend.
Thanks for having me,
my friend. Bye-bye.
Take care.